How are you? It's great. Yeah, March 1st, March 2nd, right? And then this weekend we get to spring ahead again, so we get our hour back.
Yeah, let's get
Woohoo! I'm excited about
dark,
that. A little more.
dark. Yeah, so we start moving toward the long days. I like that. Our official second sponsor, Soap 2.0. Thanks, Josh Brown, for sending demos out for me, and more importantly, Jerry, he sent the brown water. I don't know if you saw that or not. So Josh Brown and Soap 2.0, thank you very much. I think that falls in line with cleaning and cocktails a little bit. So maybe I'm treading
Hey,
on.
Josh, thanks for your support. I know you're out there and excited to have you as a sponsor, but me and Jack do not live in the same town. We don't
I
live
will
in the
drink.
same state.
I
So,
will
brown
drink it on your
water,
behalf. I will
yeah,
drink it on your behalf over time, and I will make sure I call you at about 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm in the height of my
yeah.
consumption.
I'll just take a bottle of soap. I'm be happy with that. I don't have to have the brown water. I'm good with soap. So
It's actually nice. It's interesting. They have the I don't know if this is glass or stainless. I
yeah, it's
think it's
black.
glass or ceramic. It's ceramic, but they have this little vial of stainless steel vial, and you basically I forgot my chemical training, but you pour the water in first, and then you fill up to about right here, and then you pour the vial into it, give it a little whirl, foams up
That's good.
nicely.
Yeah,
Not a bad little system. I like, and the fragrance is really great too. So I can see what they're doing.
nice. That's great.
So so our second sponsor, Soap 2.0.
Well, the Chase and Dirt show is it's starting to boom, Jack. I feel it, and I know we joke about it a lot, but we got a lot of people reaching out and just saying love your show. So if you guys want to go out there and like us, follow us, promote it, whatever, just let people know. Most of the time, the content's pretty good stuff, and we put our heads together. Normally, we come up with some pretty good stuff. So,
I like it. I like it.
um,
Well, today, what's on your mind? I think you're working on something, but let's go through what's on your mind.
yeah, I'm really working on a kind of a new training. I'm writing an article, and during that compiling information, it really hit me that I think I'm a little bit onto something here about how culture in your company, culture is and can be your competitive advantage in the commercial cleaning industry, and so um, you know, in a what do we call it, a commoditized industry, um, culture separates us to be winners, and so and these are not my language, my the mastery or lack of of the English language. Um, is there's some of these words I have to go back and go, oh, what does that mean? I forget what that means, and so I started digging into the culture. Um, it's and trying to find out what were some of the things that I did when I owned my company that helped me um, have an impact on my business that were directly related to culture. And here's some of the things that I came up with.
Let's
Um,
let's do this before you go into it, Jerry.
sure.
Define again. My word's no good. Your word's good. Define what culture means to you. Like let's make sure we're on a label. Like when you say
Yeah.
culture, what does that mean to you?
Yeah. To me, culture is who we are as a business, the core values of how we operate, right? So for my business, we had five core values. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head right now, but for us, I remember character, integrity, team player. Um, we're three of our five, right? And that's who we are as a business. Number one, and it's so that culture. Number two is how is that spread into your company to where people are treated well, customers are treated well, and the energy and excitement behind your team wanting to do stuff based out of just being in a great place to work, right? Um, I never wanted people just come to work and clock in, clock out, and just do it because it's just they had to. I wanted them to do it
Yep.
because they wanted to and they enjoyed it. And so to me, culture is the it's the vibe, it's the mindset behind how we operate in our day to day work life and business, and culture. can be toxic, right? And that starts from the top down, or it can be just really good. Like I've had a lot of people that left my company over the years and came back. And here's the reason they came back, because you treat me right here. They might leave for a quarter an hour more, and then they come back and go, they treat me horrible over there. So that's part of culture, right? How people are treated. And so to me, it's defined and it's set and um it's exampled by the top, starting from the top down.
Do
And
you
that,
do you do you feel do you feel this that can culture be trained, or is culture kind of in you? You just got to pull it out, or maybe it's what's your thought on that?
so I will say this: I can't train you to have integrity. Either you do or you don't.
Yep.
But I can, as an organization leader, I can change the culture of the company. And when I do that, that means either you're going to change and get on board with the culture of the company, or you won't be here. So I can't change you necessarily, but you can change you to determine that's where I want to be with, who I want to be with. That's the kind of company I want to be around, right?
Yeah.
Example, um, you know, I had office staff, 8, 9, 10 people. Um, Moms, get several moms that work for us, got elementary school kids. If something came up with their kid, um, I'm not going to say no, you can't go, because their families are number one priority, right? But I know by letting them go deal with that and come back to work, I'm going to get just as much out of them in that 6 hours as I would have in the 8 hours, that they were there. And that creates a culture of I want to do this for my company, for my peers, for my teammates. And it just creates a good atmosphere. And look, I love to laugh. Sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself, and just enjoy it. I wanted to have a really good work environment. I wanted people to be able to laugh, have a good time, still get the work done. So you got to just treat people well. To me, that's kind of culture. You're creating that, and I'm currently in an organization right now helping turn that a little bit, right? What does that culture look like? Everybody was afraid to move without somebody at the desk telling them they can move.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I'm empowering you to go do your job. I'll support you. What do you need? So
Yeah.
just
And I
helping
think
your
part of that too,
organization.
Jerry. No, I think part of sorry to interrupt. I think that part of that too is like it's not a set it and forget it. It's not saying, hey, here's our 5 core values as a company, here's our culture, and you just kind of it's something you have to reinforce. Like I
Yeah,
think what I hear once you need to hire, promote, and where necessary, terminate based on that culture, to your
absolutely.
point.
Yeah. For
And
us,
I think it has to be reinforced.
for our organization, if you were going to be in management or office, if you didn't meet 4 of the 5, we didn't hire you. In the
Yeah.
field, if you met 3 of the 5, we would go with you, give you a shot. So, and let's keep in mind this. Let's listen. Long-term success in this industry is not about price. It's about culture. It's built on culture, because when you start building a strong culture, it goes down to every level of the business. And I'm talking about down, and then it goes out, right? It goes out to the customers. Um, and when your culture is strong, it builds strong trust with your customers. And when your customers trust you, they give you a referral. They will tell other people about you. And this week, what Monday, I've had 3 people this morning. Hey, I need to hire a salesperson. Um, and they're under $1 million. And I'll say, why? Well, I'm not getting leads. I'm not getting. Well, have you talked to your customer base about other people they could refer you to? And both of them are like, well, I never thought about that. I'm like, do they trust you? Do they believe in you? Do they know you care? Yes.
Yep.
Well, they probably have better context for you than the internet guy that's just pulling out random names. I'm not against that. There's a time and a place for it, but that long-term success in this industry, in my opinion, is not about price. It's about being built on culture and what that looks like. So
I love it. Love it. So bullet points. You got some bullet points you said.
Yeah. So listen, when we talk about um, when we build culture intentionally, right? And listen, it's a catchphrase. Everybody's saying it now, but just because you're talking about it doesn't mean it's happening, right? If you say, oh, we want our culture to be good, Jack, you suck at doing this. You're no good at that. Jack, I'm going to fire you. Well, that's not a good culture, right? It's something that has to be done intentionally. It's not a soft concept, right? It's one of the things I wrote here was um, it's not a soft concept or a motivational slogan that we just frame on the wall. It's something that it's strategic. It's planned. It's intentional. And when built intentionally, it reduces our turnover with employees. It improves on our quality of service. And then the last three that I love, and I have to read them because I've written this so much, but now I want to make sure I get them right. Is it reduces turnover, improves quality, strengthens our customer trust, drives referrals like we talked about, and the bottom line is it protects profitability. It protects our profitability. Um, and what does that mean when we get down into the root of it? That means when I go out to clean a strip and wax a floor, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it well because repeating training in how we do things in this company is ongoing. That's part of our culture is training and training
Mhm.
and retraining. The more we train that floor tech, the better he gets, the bit more efficient he's going to become, the better the end product's going to be, and the better I can hold my pricing, right? We said it's not about pricing because that culture gives us a good end product. So when we have a good end product, people don't mind paying for stuff they know that's it's really good. So
Uh,
and listen, employee turnover, that's another one that it still remains the biggest challenge in our industry. Recruiting, onboarding, uniforms, background checks, all that stuff that we have to do. And in the meantime, while we're repeating all that for a position, we're losing productivity in other areas. HR, is losing productivity on helping update manuals, keeping, other things going when they constantly have to recruit. And so that's an area that affects our bottom line. And so to me, creating some kind of culture, the number one thing that it prevents is that employee turnover. Um, it's you know we hear it all the time. People leave companies because of managers, but um, to me, it's also a culture issue. That
yeah.
manager might not be a fit, and for the people that are out there that are holding on to somebody that you're constantly have to oversee or correct or say we shouldn't do it that way, maybe that person is affecting your culture as well. So it might be time to move on from them and find somebody else. So
Well,
it's
let
a
me ask you this.
trust.
No, it's all good points. Let me ask you this: like, what you hear in your level when you owned your company at the top, you had perceptions of what, again, going back to perceptions, but you had perceptions, perspective of what you thought was the culture was getting through. You were doing the emails, you were doing the incentives based on um, those values you were trying to reinforce. You were patting people on the back. You were nudging them where they needed it. But how do you, as an owner and as an executive, I love the show. I didn't watch it enough, but I love reruns now of Undercover Boss because they really see the culture of the
Yeah.
company. But how do you do that? How did you do that? Because Jerry walks in, he's the owner. Jerry's handing out gift certificates if he's to give you pats on the back. So you're gonna of course smile and say, "Hey Jerry, good to see you again." But behind your back, they might be pounding you a little bit. But
Yeah.
how do you peel back the onion layers a little bit and say, how does that person at this level, this level, this level really feel about me, the company, and the culture? How did you do that?
So intentional training, um, and I can just think about sitting in a conference room with supervisors, right? And I would create situational things that would happen in the field with a supervisor, and I would say, "Here's how I would like you to handle it," right? And it was backed up with, "Don't I treat you the same way?" And so I'm modeling it in a day to day. And all I did was, this is how I treat people. I'm going to put it on paper because this is how I want you to treat people. And so the consistency across the board, starting with office staff, starting with area managers, operations manager, supervisors, building leads, whatever that was, I wanted that patterned and replicated at every turn that we could. And so it was, constant training. And I would ask the questions that, so how do you think I would handle that? If they did something and it didn't fit what we were doing, I might say, hey, look, I don't think that was a good way to handle that situation. How do you think I would have handled that? Me, the owner. And they would say, well, you'd have probably done this and this and this. I'm like, how come you came so quickly to you? And they were like, well, I don't know. I said, because that's the way I treat you. And that's the way I treat everybody. And so it starts at the top to me, but it's constant training and reminding and replicating. And I tell people all the time, I'm not afraid to say it. I had some supervisors, man, that they they were from the hospital system, the school system. They've been doing it longer than I've even, been alive. They're amazing. And I was scared to death of them, right? Because they were so good, they knew it. But their communication to the employees, it might happen that way at the hospital or in the school, but it's not going to happen that way here. This is how we're going to talk to people. And I've been known to dismiss some pretty high level people for not treating people well with their vocabulary.
Yeah.
And because that's a commodity. That's something that holds on to people, is treating them with respect and kindness, and wording your correction in a way that helps them realize. Listen, Jack, I could talk about this stuff all day long. You got an employee who's worked from 7 to 3:30, 4 o'clock in their early day job. They get an hour break. They come to work for you at night. They don't need you chomping on them in a negative way. It's just simple. Look, hey, our customer requires this. You're doing outstanding at this. One of the things they pointed out in our walkthrough this morning was that the paper towel dispenser is not getting wiped off on the top, or the pictures in the hallway. Hey, do me a favor, when you're going around, just throw the feather duster in the microfiber duster, throw it in your cart. When you're walking down the hall, just hit those things. And then on the back side of it was, but here's some great things they pointed out about what we're doing as a company. And I never said what you're doing. I always said what we are doing, because number one, it pulls them in the team, and number two, it takes responsibility. It's the whole team, and that's another part of building your culture. We're not going to, if an employee fails or if we lose a contract, it's not the employee's fault unless it's something catastrophic. It's the organization's fault. These things are hard to get. These contracts are hard to get, but when you get them, they're not hard to keep. Just do things right. And so I tried to help employees understand that we're gonna do our best to treat you right. And that, what I just said to you, is what it sounds like in a training with the supervisor.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to do it.
Were you pretty open door? I believe in full transparency. Again, how I say something, how you interpret something. What's the old saying is, they don't necessarily remember the words you said, but they remember the feeling that it left them with. They may not exactly remember what you said, but they know it did not resonate with them, or it landed well or didn't land so well. But that full transparency, would you have those open conversations just to keep that culture, kind of pulse on the culture from the top down, and say, hey, be transparent with me no matter who you are, and open door policy and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So the worst thing I always tell my leadership team, the worst thing I could hear is that we've lost a contract, but it's been going bad for a while. Right.
Yeah.
I don't need to, I need to know, because I'm going to jump in there. If there's something in the organization and one of our processes is not going right that got us there, we got to stop that, because it's going to keep happening. And so I wanted a complete open door policy. But I told everybody, if you have communicated with your direct supervisor and you don't feel like you got where you needed to, bring them with you. Let's have a conversation. And I would tell my supervisors, I'm going to stand behind you. Don't bail on me, right? I'm going to stand behind you, but we're going to base our decisions in that meeting off of policy and procedure, not off of feelings. So make your decisions based off of policy and procedure. And most employees, that took years to get in place. But once you got those in place, we were able to run the organization off of those, and it wasn't personal to people. And we were able to say, hey, even me, I would say this is how the organization runs. Well, you're the boss, you can fix it. I'm like, I have fixed it. You're choosing not to abide by it because I've worked multiple years to get it working this way for the greater good of our organization. And you're just choosing not to fall into that. So we got to get you there, and I didn't go after them. The worst thing that could happen is they quit, but it was a constant reminder of employees and staff and all. We got to treat people well. And let the organization processes run the organization. We manage it. So
nice. So good. Well, you get in an article, you got a lot of thoughts. Training. This could be a training module. I think you said, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it to help owners and managers and supervisors. And I'm trying to decide, am I even going to break it down into, because culture reinforces your expectation, right? So you've got to figure out, and I got to figure out how detailed I want to get into this because I'm not running everybody's company. So I'm only me. God only made one of us, and praise the Lord, right, for that. But there's only me. But you, Jack, as a person, your organization, it will adapt your personality, your culture, the way you want things to work. And so trying to decide how deep I need to make that, or do I just need to make, 6, 7 bullet points, and here's what I did under each one. So
it'd be an interesting story. It'd be an interesting survey. I need to figure out how we do that. We've got 11,000 contractors in the Exchange database. I think at some point we can start to ping these folks and get some kind of surveys back from them. I'd be interested to see of the 11,000 in the Exchange, how many of those feel like from the top feel like they've got rate their rate from between 1 and 10, 10 being the best, no sevens, but rate their culture from the top, and then find a frontline worker and do the same thing. And it'd be interesting to see the average score from the executive level and the average score from the field level, just to see what that delta looks like. That would.
Yeah, it needs to come from all representations of your company, because you may think your culture is great. Everybody else may think different, right?
Well, let me ask you that. Did you ever do an NPS score, Net Promoter Score, for internal? Like, would you recommend someone to this job versus would you recommend somebody to us to service them?
Yeah, I think so. Over my years, I think I did 1 or 2 internal surveys as to how are we doing as an organization for you as an employee. Yeah. There's a lot of in-person conversations about that. When I had an important person leave, if I fired them, I really didn't. It just sounds terrible. I probably didn't really care what they thought at that point, because for them to get fired by me, it's been a long journey, right?
Well, for the record, you fired your dad, so just want to call that out.
I did fire my own dad, so bless the soul. But yeah, I did fire my dad, but it took a while. But now I feel like I explained that story. My dad was a hunter gatherer, and he would just keep bringing one day a week, Sunday and afternoon at 2:00 to clean. I'm like, Dad, I can't do that. So, but no, I did some internal stuff, but I was so entrenched in the culture of the company. I was pretty aware of what was going on and what people thought. I know you'll find this hard to believe, Jack. There's a video out there on YouTube somewhere of a particular employee who does not care for me. And he said something along the lines of sitting around eating Twinkies or something. I don't know what it was, but it was a rough thing to hear. But it was so far from the truth. And my team came to my side and said, that's one person that got fired for not doing what he was supposed to do. And full circle moment for him. He fell in love with one of my neighbor kids, um, and he had to apologize for all that. But it was quite entertaining when she introduced me to him. I'm like, hey man, how are you? And he's like, you know, I'm like, you're good, bro. Don't worry. I said, if that bothered me, I'd never be in leadership, you know, because
Yeah, good.
leadership, you got to have thick skin. So, but yeah,
Well, good topic for the day, and
yeah,
I think we can wrap with that. But no, I love it. So good luck with the article. Are
yeah.
you going to Charlotte next week? Actually, I forgot to ask you. Are you going to Charlotte for
Yes,
the
sir. I'm speaking in Charlotte. Yeah.
awesome? So you'll be speaking there. So we'll be there next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What is that show called? That's the NF. What is it?
NF NFMT 2026 East Coast. It's a national facilities. Oh boy, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. National facilities. Help me out, Jack. Oh, it's terrible. I just talked about it this morning on a Zoom call that I was on. I'm drawing a blank. NFMT. Okay. I'm gonna
Here
look
it
it up.
is. Yeah. Well, they just call it NFT. It's for the Facility Management Conference,
Yeah.
one of the nation's leading facility management conference. So it's next March the 10th through the 12th in Charlotte's Convention Center. Yeah, I've never been to this show, so this is new to me. So we're going to be
Yeah.
there with the exchange and route. So yeah, should be a very
Yeah.
interesting show. Looks pretty like
Yeah, it's actually I went last year was my first year speaking. There's a couple thousand people there, and there's a track for cleaning companies, and it's yeah, it's pretty good. It's, downtown Charlotte this year. They moved it from Baltimore. Outstand run well. Just a really good couple of days there in Charlotte, and I enjoy it. There's a lot of, you know, if you're in the commercial cleaning industry, I would, you know, and BSCI is behind it. They're part of the sponsorship, and they
Yep.
help with the track. But it's a great place to be, you know, to get connected, and that'll be a big win for Exchange because there's a lot of facility managers there as well. So
Yeah, looks like there'll be another side show there called Clean Buildings at NFMT as well. So this
yeah,
is NFMT East. That's what it is. NFT East.
yeah, yeah,
So cool. All right.
yeah.
Well, I
We'll
guess
definitely.
I'll see you there. I'll bring the brown water so you can partake of Josh's brown water and our official second sponsors, Soap 2O.
There you go.
So
So do well. And yeah, and hey, like us and share the videos, whatever. And if anyone's interested in this topic of culture, just reach out to me or Jack, and we'll be glad to sit down with you once I get all this thing organized. I should have it in some kind of functioning order by the end of March here, and we'd love to share it with you. So be glad to.
love it, love it, love it. Well, good. Well, have a good week, and we will talk Friday, man. Look forward to it.
All right. Appreciate you, brother.